Hi, my name is Charles Malky, biologist and plant expert with Ivory Organics, where we grow cold plants, and today we're here with Paul Talley of the California Rare Fruit Growers in Simi Valley, California, and just behind us here is one of his favorite big tree varieties that's going to be part of this year's 5th annual free fig cutting giveaway. Thanks for having us here today, Paul.
You're very welcome. Good to have you.
Thank you. And tell us a little bit about the Figo Preto.
This Figo Preto has been in ground since 2011, and it's actually grown very well. This whole area here was in tomatoes and had, hundreds of tomatoes in here because that's what I was doing the 2 years before. So, the soil was prepped really good when they went in, and so they grew really well. Most of this stuff did because it was good dirt here. But anyway, what we're going to do today is this Preto is going to get a rather extreme haircut. Okay, so as you can see, this tree has been laid out for backyard orchard culture. What they advise is to basically create a bowl, okay, so that you can access all the fruit without a ladder. And that's all fine and dandy, but here in Southern California, where we get so much heat, what happens is that bowl, those branches get exposed to the sun, and you get a lot of sunburn on them, particularly if they're not protected, which this one wasn't for a significant period of time. So I'm going to make this thing go more vertical. It'll take a couple of years to do so, but as of now, we're going to shrink its footprint, so to speak, and just shape it so it goes up a little bit more vertically, because quite frankly the pathways are just too crowded. And so that's what we're going to be doing, not only to the Preto, but to some of the other trees here, so that we can get in here and get access and actually be able to have a crowd in here and enjoy it. So as you can see in here, you can see some serious damage going on from the cup shape. And now you can see it up there and in there. That's sun damage. So this is one of the things you need to be aware of if you're going to hollow out the interior of your tree in Southern California. Now, if this had been protected continuously from the time I put it in and the time I started structuring it, it wouldn't have been as bad, but at the time, it looked good until it didn't. So that's what we're doing here. We're going to try to take some of this burn out, and also we want to get it to go somewhat more vertical, to take out some of this stuff that is encroaching into here, because these trees are spaced, if you can look down the row, they're spaced at 8 foot. And 8 foot is about as close as you want them, but at 8 foot you want them vertical. If you go, this thing here, its total is like 18 feet or something.
Yeah, it seems like it.
Yeah, so basically that makes this row impenetrable, during the spring. So that's what we're trying to change.
But I just want to highlight the fact that, so this tree is a little over 10 years old. 11 years old.
Actually 12. Yeah, 12.
I'm 6 feet tall, and there's only a few branches that might be closer to 7 throughout the structure. So with the structure being so lateral and open, as you've designed it over the last decade, it's made the tree more susceptible to sunburn as the structure is now so open, compared to as it's now going to evolve starting 2022 into a more vertical structure, which will naturally offer more shade to, as I like calling it, the heart of the tree, being the tree trunk and lower branches.
Correct.
So there's going to be a lot healthier in that respect. Yeah. But it's going to be a little bit more harder and challenging to get to those figs as it takes on the more vertical shapes.
Well, this tree is not a very fast growing tree. So I think I'll be pushing worms before this thing gets, no, seriously, it's pretty slow growing. I could pound it with some fertilizer, but mostly I don't. Mostly it's just the mulch and stuff. So that's not so much of a concern. Now, some of the wild growing stuff, like that tree over there that's grafted, that's Martinica Ramada, Black Ashia, Craven's Craven, Black Madeira, and it's on Vista rootstock. And as you can see, it's pretty aggressive growth, okay? Whereas this is on its own roots.
So one tip, as we're going to now collect a lot of cuttings off of this Figo Preto fig variety, any advice in regards to, is this best rooted in a perlite vermiculite type soil, mix, or is it better grafted as, how successful is it to root in a soil medium?
Well, I don't have any difficulty rooting this one, and I prefer this on its own roots because, as you can see, it doesn't sucker.
That's fantastic.
For me, that's very, very important. It's such a mess. If you look over now, if you want one tree and you're going to graft to all the suckers, then that might not be the thing for you, because you're not going to get any with this. But that's why I like this one on its own roots. If you're going to root it, the easy thing to do is just take something, a piece like this, and then just scrape it, okay, along there, and then put some rooting hormone on that. And then you can put it in, a medium, and I use bark, pine. I use an orchid pine bark, which has gotten really expensive lately, $14 for a bag. And it's called, it's based on a 5-1-1 mix, which is 5 parts pine bark, 1 part perlite, and not the really skinny small perlite, the really,
So the coarse stuff.
Yeah, the coarse stuff. And then peat moss, 1 part peat moss. Now you can, I use a 4-1-1 mix, okay? Because I'm in Southern California, and if the stuff's in the pots, I want that little bit, a little bit of a buffer that'll hold some more moisture. So I'm more peat moss than I am bark, which just drains really well. But that promotes, promotes root growth, lets the air get at. The roots will just, there's no resistance, right? Because it's growing into that really, really friable stuff, and it drains really well.
Got it.
So, and that's the biggest deal when you're trying to root these things, is rot. That's what's going to kill them, and from keeping the medium too wet. So yeah, if you're going to root them, you want something heavy in pine bark or good bark. Don't use the cheap stuff, because it's got too much wood in it, and it just it's garbage. Sounds
great. So is it time to start pruning?
Sure.
Let's do it.
Hi, my name is Kevin Liu, a member of CRFG, joined in 2019, and I'm here to help out with the Vigo Preto pruning.
Two cuts were made on this. One was made to relieve the pressure so that it did not rip off up here. If we had just made 1 cup, you could have held it up over here, but this is the cleaner way to do it. And also what you'll notice, what we just did is I can actually walk in here and pick figs now, okay? Before, if you'll note, and this is without leaf, without fig, without anything, Kevin had difficulty just getting in there. So this has always been an issue. Consequently, I never really got to these figs in here too much because, well, it's such a big tree, I didn't need to get to them, but nonetheless. So also we're leaving some of this stuff in here for now, okay, so we get some leaf on it. The leaf is gonna shield it. So some of this stuff, like this and this, which one could say should probably be pruned away, they're going to be left for this year until we figure it out. But we've definitely opened this thing up. And now we're going to come over here and we're going to do the same thing to this branch. Okay, so those are the major cuts we're going to make. Some of this downward facing stuff, remember, we're trying to get this thing to go up. So we're going to take out stuff like this, stuff like this, stuff like this guy here. I don't want him in there. And over here, we're going to take this guy out. And so on around here. And probably this guy too. Because we're trying to clear the pathway at the same time. And so that would put us over here. And I don't really want this downward growing stuff here. So we'll just make 1 cut here.
So just to reiterate, what Paul just did is he removed all of these branches that are going in the downward or even horizontal direction and trying to encourage the tree to take more of a vertical direction compared to the way it was trained in years past.
Hi, I'm Bill Brandt, CRFG, and when you make these cuts, what Kevin did is he cut not flush here. That would have been a much bigger scar and it would have been much longer for the tree to heal. He came out to the edge of the collar, so where a branch comes in, you want to leave out a little bit, a quarter to a half inch, and it makes a smaller scar to heal.
So here we are, another one of Paul's in-ground fig trees, and do you want to explain where we are?
Charles, this is a grafted tree. I've got I don't know, 5, 6 different varieties at this point. And as you can see, I mean, you know, what pathway? There's no pathway anymore. So we're going to take this back, unfortunately, to about right here. And let it go vertical, because once I move that table, you can scoot around it. This is a variety known as Emmeline's Purple. Excellent quality fig.
So there's about, I don't know, 5 to 8 varieties of figs on this. I didn't realize that. I thought this was one fig tree, but there's 8 cuttings coming off of this one fig. So we are very lucky to get another 8 awesome flavors of some of Paul's favorite varieties of figs.
A raspberry latte. And, well, I think it might taste like raspberry. I don't know.
That's awesome.
Very high quality fig. And here we have white Madeira #1. And one thing that you will notice is it's coming off a root sucker. Okay, right down there. And see, the graft point you can just barely make out down there. It's another high quality, but this one is green. High quality green fig. It sets a breva as well for me in my area. I have heard that some people don't get brevas, but I think it's because they're doing too much pruning. I think you have to leave on brevas. It's important to leave, you know, like the first 4 or 5, 6 buds, because usually that's where your breva's going to pop on the ones that you know, are suspect. In other words, you hear people saying, oh, I don't get a breva. Other people do. It's usually because they're leaving this and they might have breva, but like on the yellow long neck, you'll find the brevas only pop on the first 4 buds. And so that's what you want to do for breva production. High quality white fig. Okay, here we have, this is all going, so there's going to be a lot of white Madeira #1 because this is all white Madeira #1 in here. So you can see that also is on a root sucker, okay? And it's really not advisable to do that. It's better to put it on the tree because as you can see, you take a look over here, just pan over here, you can see the mess that it becomes. So, and it's really, it's not tidy. It's not home and garden, it's beautiful. But there's going to be a lot of white Madeira #1 because all this whole thing is coming out. Because as you can see, the sun is over here to our south, and so that's east, that's west. When this tree grows up, this thing only gets a little bit of sun, so then it's reaching out here into my pathway. So it's got to go. I've got this one over here is going to stay, and I've got God knows how many in pots. Okay, that's the white Madeira #1. Here we have Black Acacia UC Davis, and you can see the graft right there. You know, that graft took pretty well. And there's going to be a good amount of cuttings on this thing. Once again, this puts on a breva. Nice breva too. This is Black Madeira KK. Black Madeira, that's, yeah, they're got like Black Madeira UC Davis, which you know, and people distinguish this because this comes from a guy who sourced his tree initially from John Verdict of the old Figs for Fun board, and it proved to be much healthier than the stuff coming out of UC Davis. So this was one everybody wanted, and we're going to take some cuttings off of this. It's an excellent quality fig. It's pretty much what you rate every other fig by. It and Prato, both Figo Prato, are both, as far as the fruit goes, they're the same, but genetically I believe that they're different because The Preta puts on more single lobe and tries, and this one here will throw 5 lobe leaves, whereas that one, it's very rare unless you decapitate it, take it all the way down to the ground, take away its brain, and then for one season it'll come back and you won't know what it is. There's not going to be many cuttings on this. There might be 20 on this. Over here we have Martinica Ramada, and this one here is an absolutely stunning looking fig. It begins life much like Panache, and it's green with yellow stripes, or yellow with green stripes, any way you want to look at it. And then it changes colors and gets purple with dark stripes, and that change is amazing to see. It's absolutely beautiful. On this tree over here, this is Marseille's Black VS. It's a very soft fig. People love this thing. It's soft, and the skin kind of cracks on it. It's just really beautiful, and it does well everywhere. I mean, the people back east, they just love this thing. We got 2 more varieties here. Well, actually, we got 1 variety here, but it's got 2 names, which is, in the fig world, quite common. This is an I-258. Okay, that stands for Italian 258, which was brought over by Todd Kennedy, I believe, from Italy, where they lost all the names and gave everything numbers. And so this one ended up being designated I-258. Excellent quality fig, large breba, huge fig, one of the largest quality figs. And as you can see, once again, it's encroaching on our walkway here, so a good portion of it is going to have to go. Like I said, large quality breba, excellent quality fruit, large main crop as well. And this here, okay, is Genovese Nero AF. These are the same fig. You can see their growth characteristics are quite similar. They both produce a breba, they both produce main that is high quality, and I cannot distinguish any difference between them, nor can anybody else that's been in here. So, and Genovese Nero AF, it came to the attention of the world, I believe, from Adriana. Anyway, up north someplace, where it was touted as an excellent quality fig, and there was quite some drama over this because a lot of people got what they thought was this fig, when in actuality they got other varieties, and it went round and round and round and round. And finally, we've come to some certainty about this, and so this is what it is. And we'll be taking cuttings off this and off those, and we will tag them as we got them. So that one will be tagged I-258. This one will be tagged Genovese Nero AF, and that's just the way we do things. So, and there'll be some other stuff. I mean, the pots I haven't even started on yet, but there's too many there to even go to. So, have fun with them and enjoy these things. Root them up, and they'll be fun.
So this here is the Vista variety. All of the varieties that we're talking about that are part of today's giveaway, we're being careful to label, so that way you'll have a first, second, and third choice in regards to the cuttings that you'd like. And they're back there doing the pruning job, and I'm here preparing the cuttings that'll be about between 4 and 8 inches. And then we'll bundle them up, and we'll be packaging these within the next 24 hours and hopefully finding a way to your home garden. So if people don't get a cutting from this annual fig cutting giveaway, we also are members of the California Rare Fruit Growers, and you can go to California or the CRFG.org website and join the chapter closest to you. They are a worldwide organization with over 2,000 members. And if you can share a little bit more about how does CRFG help get plants into people's hands that are members?
Well, mostly it's through the Scion Exchange. Well, actually, that's the big gathering where everybody gets together and kind of comes in, and like here, most of this stuff would have been going to a scion exchange, except the scion exchanges have been disrupted because of the pandemic. You know, meetings that were once 200 people, you got them down to 30 people. So, you know, at a certain point, you just go, oh, okay, let's find a new outlet. So once a year, and this is generally, and it depends on which CRFG chapter you're talking about, they have a scion exchange, and usually it's from December through February, someplace in there. The bulk of it's going to be like now, like mid-January through mid-February, January through mid-February. And if you're in an area that has a scion exchange, you could just walk down and visit and stop in. Some of them have a token fee of $5 if you want to take cuttings, and some of them do not. So it just depends on the local. And of course, the really cool thing is you get to meet a lot of people who have the same interests that you do, and once you get kind of involved or make friends, I don't really need too many cuttings, but if I need them, I know where to go to get them. You know? It's kind of like I know where it's like the membership is a grocery store, and you can just, okay, you got that, and so you can you can pretty much find what you want, and trade, free. In some cases, if it's really expensive stuff, yeah, okay, you'll pay a little bit, but you'll always get a better deal than you would if, say, you went to a retail marketplace, if you could even find it.
Also, if someone is a fig enthusiast and has something really specific they're looking for, I know that you can go to sites such as eBay and so forth. What is the best place to make sure that what you're buying is what you're getting? Because I know some of these places you can shop at are not legitimate sellers and distributors of these fig cuttings.
Well, I would stay off eBay. If you don't know what you're doing, that's the worst place to go. And I would only recommend you go to eBay if you know the people that you're buying from, because that has been just it's been ridiculous over there. They've been ripping people off right and left, and there's no recourse really. Let's face it, okay, somebody sends you a cutting, you grow it out. 2 years later, it ain't the $500 or dollar tree or whatever it was supposed to be. It's something else, and at that point, well, good luck getting your money back from eBay.
I think that's a really important point. It's going to take not one, it's usually by the second year you're going to see the fruit and match it hopefully to what you're expecting. So
well, and some varieties, they don't fruit that soon. I mean, you got some varieties you could be, the Colonel de Doms, I mean, some of them you could be waiting 3-4 years.
Yeah. And that's a little bit too late to then be complaining to eBay. So what's the more like your favorite source?
Well, if you're going to buy, if you don't have a network of friends who do this kind of thing, then you should probably go over to FigBid, which is run by Danny out of New York, and he polices that pretty well. I mean, not only he, but I mean, there's the whole board of our figs is like, you can't pull too much, because those guys are all buying stuff from FigBid, and if something isn't kosher, they're not shy at all about letting Danny know or letting the whole world know. So there's not bad actors don't last long over there, and as far as I know, there really aren't any. You just gotta, because it's a bidding, you bid for the, it's an auction house. So you gotta watch yourself, okay, as far as what you're bidding, because you know how that goes. You can be up there and, anger bid or some kind of thing, and just, or you can, sometimes they have buy it now prices for specific varieties, you just go up and buy them.
That's fantastic. That was a ton of helpful information, Paul, and thank you again so much for your generous contribution to the annual free fig cutting giveaway. Between you and Edgar Valdivia, we're getting some of the best fig cuttings, and we're looking forward to, hopefully visiting some more homes in the upcoming week or two to make a part of this. But this is one of my most favorite, most exciting backyard orchards, and being surrounded by so many CRFG members. And again, if you haven't already joined, I highly recommend you to check them out. And even if you're not near enough, that you still get involved with this amazing network of people, and I'm sure it'll benefit your garden in the long run as well. As always, if you've enjoyed this lesson, be sure to give us that thumbs up, and most importantly, share us with your gardening friends and family. If you haven't subscribed yet, be sure to subscribe and hit that push bell notification to stay informed of all of these lessons. as soon as they become made available. And as always, keep growing with Ivory Organics, and wishing you all happy gardening.